All right, what is going on, fam? I am back in front of the mic. As you can see, today I kind of want to talk about how most breakup advice on the internet or just anywhere in general, things that people tell you are just absolute nonsense and will suck and probably won't help and might even make things worse. Um, I'm just gonna mention a bunch of different things that I've heard, and then we'll break down why I think everything is kind of not very helpful. Um, to preface, this is my personal opinion. Some things might work for you, some things might not. Some things might work better, and I don't know, everyone is different. But if you are someone that's like me, then you might have found that most advice, especially most advice on the internet, most things people tell you, all that stuff is just not helpful, like in the slightest. So I think the most obvious terrible piece of advice is, number one, if you want to get over someone, get under someone. I've heard that so many times, and that's just such awful advice that I don't think people understand why it's such bad advice. But that's something that's almost guaranteed to make you feel worse. You might feel better in the short term, in revenge or whatever the case may be. You might feel better like for a night or 2 nights, whatever the case is. But in the long term, you are just going to feel so dirty and so like a part of you is missing. Part of you is missing even more. So just because you feel a void with temporary satisfaction does not mean it's going to heal long-term damages. And that's a key. Write that down. That was pretty important. And yeah, another thing is, like, if you're not fully healed, the other person is probably gonna rub off on that negative energy, and you don't want to put someone in that position. So it's bad for just a whole bunch of reasons. So yeah, I think the next thing most people talk about is like, you just gotta love yourself, work on yourself, things like that. I think that is just so generic and cliche that obviously you gotta love yourself. If you're someone that already loves yourself, if you're someone that is pretty self-confident and knows like who you are, that is just not going to help in the slightest whatsoever. You can pour in all that time, all the energy, all the effort into yourself, but if you were already doing that like during a relationship and before and after, then that is just not going to be helpful in any way. So I'm not saying don't love yourself. Obviously, go ahead and love yourself and put in that effort that you would be putting in someone else into you, but don't expect things to be like an overnight like switch that's gonna flip. Another thing is therapy. This might be a hot take. Now, I'm not saying therapy is not very helpful, but I think most of the time when people try to go for these fixes or these things that are going to help for a breakup, you kind of have the expectation that you're going to feel better like overnight or in a week or whatever the case may be, within a couple sessions. But that is just not the case. And you'll find that when you do get therapy, you will hear a lot of the stuff that you don't want to hear. And it just is not, which is good. In the long term, it's good. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be like a major game changer if you already have your head on straight, right? Unless you've been going through severe, if you're not very self-aware and you have things that you need someone to call you out on and to keep in check with you, then it'll be helpful. And I'm not saying therapy's not helpful. I still advocate for it. I still say go get therapy, but don't expect that it's going to be the thing to, make you feel better after a breakup. Let's see, what else is there? Obviously, going into substances and bad habits and stuff like that, you don't even want to be surrounded by them when you're going through a breakup. I know your boys will say they want to take you out to drink or smoke or whatever the case may be. But this is the time to sort of lock in on your pain, which might be counterintuitive, but you really have no choice. And so falling into these substances, even if you're not someone that's very addictive, you're going to associate these feel good feelings with these substances, and you have a very high chance of latching onto them a lot, like way more than anyone else and any other situation. Also, you have a very good high chance of doing stupid stuff that you're going to regret later. So you don't ever want to be in a situation where you even have the chance to be doing stupid stuff, whether that's texting your past lover or whatever the case is. Just don't even bother. So yeah, another thing people say is that you just got to get jacked and rich and you'll feel better and things like that. And yeah, to a certain degree, like making money and having a nice physique is going to make you feel better in some ways, but when it comes to breakups, there's a certain void that you're filling that money cannot really like substitute, and having a nice physique cannot really substitute. Now, if you are someone that may not be used to having a nice physique or may not be used to having money, if there's a drastic switch, there might be a pretty big difference, and you might feel a lot better. But at the end of the day, each category has its own thing. Like making a lot of money fills a void for its own category of like financial freedom, and having a nice physique fills its own category for like self-confidence and self-image. Now I kind of want to talk about what is good advice now that we've gotten all the mumbo jumbo out of the way. What I want to say is that there really is nothing you can do when you're going through a breakup. There's pretty much nothing you can do. And so these feelings of sadness and yearning and despair and whatever, all these feelings have an evolutionary purpose, and there's a reason that you feel these feelings. So you can't really do things to speed up the process. There's nothing you can really do to, ease the process. And I think when you are putting in so much effort to speed up the process and to make it easier and things like that, that's when people get tripped up, and that's when people feel even worse. So what I would recommend is, instead of speeding up the process, lean into the pain, lean into it, don't run away from it, run towards it, okay? And ignore all this other BS mumbo jumbos on the internet that people will tell you, oh, you gotta love yourself, you gotta replace yourself, replace things with money and other people and all that stuff. Ignore absolutely everything. You really have no choice but to just put on your goggles, put on your headphones, and just lock the heck in. There's really no other way. The only way out is through. I don't know if that's the right saying. There's some similar like phrasing about that quote. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But lean into the pain, and you're gonna be hurting. Like, it's gonna suck. Like my therapist tells me this all the time. It's gonna suck. There's no way around it. You just gotta keep going. At the end of the day, like, what else can you do? And people say that like you can just lean into it, and at some point it's gonna feel better. And yeah, maybe you'll feel better at some point, but don't even have the expectation that you're gonna wake up within whatever amount of time and feel better. When you give your heart to someone and that gets taken away, that is just taken away permanently. You can't really do anything about it, right? You've given your heart, you've given a piece of your heart to someone, and now it's theirs. You can't take it back. You can't replace it with anything else. And any effort of replacing it or taking it back, or even getting validation or whatever the case is from that other person, is just going to make things worse. So that's why there's all these like like videos. People make so much fun of these videos on the internet that are like people at the gym with their headphones on, like sad sounds and stuff like that, sad audios. Whatever resonates with you, right? Like, if that's not your thing, that's not your thing. But like, those people have realized like there's no way out. If you're a true yearner, I know a lot of people are like true yearners, right? Like, this person, you're gonna be thinking about, this person is gonna be on your mind forever, right? And you just have to come to terms with that. And that's fine, right? That's fine, because at some point the pain is gonna turn into energy. And so you'll get used to having this void. You'll get used to having that pain. And once you get used to having that pain, you're pretty dangerous, right? Because then nothing can really take that strength away from you. So, like I said, just ignore all the BS. Get used to this person being on your mind. They're probably going to be on your mind forever, for the rest of your life. That might be super dramatic. They'll be less on your mind in the future, obviously, but don't really try to do anything to speed up that process. And don't listen to all these like podcasts and audiobooks. And, you know, at the end of the day, like, this is a niche that people try to make money off of people that are hurting, because people that are hurting are so desperate for change and so desperate for, you know, any relief, that you're unfortunately going to get preyed on by people that have a product, whether that product is an audiobook, podcast, you know, whatever it is. I'm not making money off of this, so I'm not like, there's no incentive for me to, you know, tell you something to make money and profit. So, like I said, just lean into the pain, get used to yearning, get used to having someone on your mind and them not physically being there. It's just part of life. It's how things go. Whether you're going through a breakup, whether you're experiencing the death of a loved one, unfortunately, like, that's guaranteed in this life. We're all going to experience, you know, losing someone that we deeply love. And that is guaranteed not to ever leave someone's mind. So, yeah, just get used to these feelings and don't run away from them. Run through them, run towards them, process them. Ignore all of the terrible love yourself cliche BS that people will spew out on the internet and things that people will tell you. And yeah, that's my 2 cents for today. I hope this was helpful in any way. This might not be exactly what you want to hear, but, you know, this is one of the most powerful things that people use to catalyze themselves to go to higher levels and improve themselves. So you're in a very good place. It's just, being a deep yearner is just a reflection of how much you love and how much of a heart you have and how much you can dream and create with your mind. And so you can use that energy for a lot of beautiful things in this world and a lot of things to help. And yeah, you will find your way, and I promise. And so will I. We're all going through something equally. And yeah, I will catch you guys in another video, and have a good weekend.